Hello, beautiful beings. I am excited to be dropping in with you today around 60K in 10 days, which I've yet to share in a live transmission. And I was like, I gotta give you all the juice. I have to tell you more of what it took and how it came to be that I co-created 60K in 10 days. And I'm going to be going so much deeper into this activation and this expansion and dropping these wealth codes for you inside of Edge of Expansion. So if you're not already registered to join my first free live wealth portal in over a year, make sure that you join us April 23rd through 25th, where I'm going to be going deeper into all of the magic and medicine in this. And I've been really sitting with the quantum leaps, the way that I've experienced them with myself and the way that I've experienced with my clients, the difference between people who land in a quantum leap of a whole new financial and wealth and money reality, and the difference between those who get there more easily and those who don't. And I work with people of all different levels and backgrounds, some of which make a lot more money than me, multimillionaires, and some of which who are emerging six figures. And so the way that I teach and coach and work with money and wealth is that it's beyond the numbers in the bank account, but a quality of being and a relationship with money that feels like it's wildly overflowing. And what better way to demonstrate this and to share with you than by speaking into the experience that I just had, 60K in 10 days, which in some ways is very, of course, kind of energy. And in other ways, it's like, holy wow. I remember when that used to be a dream, a vision of how much I could receive in a year. And this is part of the magic and the medicine of the wild overflow method that I love to teach and guide and hold and support you in, is that the things that used to happen in a year with my clients and with myself now become possible in a month, a week, a day. So we're going to be going really deep into this with Edge of Expansion. And I have a story that I want to share with you, because if you've been around for a while, you know I keep it raw and real in here. And I am not one to gatekeep. I share all of the juice with you because I want you to be able to grow. When you win, I win. When we win together, we all rise together. What's for one of us is what's for all of us. And that's what makes a regenerative ecosystem, where I get to pour into you and you get to pour into you. You get to pour into our community, into sisterhood, and you're receiving in this super regenerative exchange of energy. And that in and of itself is a revolution against the old systems that we're taught, where it's draining or extracting or depleting or exhausting to be showing up in your bigness, in your power, in ways that you're expanding your capacity with money, right? And so all of us have different limits with money where there's an edge, right? So for you, this might be 10K day, 10K hour, 10K 5 minutes. This might be 50K month. This might be 5K month. This might be 200K month. There's a certain edge where once you start to really lean into the edge, you're met with resistance. Old money stories show up, fear shows up, old thoughts, old beliefs, old programming show up in resistance to leaning into that edge. And then there's this really powerful point, which I've had the honor and the pleasure to get to experience with so many of my clients, where you go beyond the edge of expansion and your power in your body and your trust and your faith with yourself and with spirit, God, universe is so much stronger than the resistance that you rise beyond the edge of that expansion, and then you get to land into a whole new reality, right? And what most people do is they hit this edge of resistance and then they back out. They lean out. They pull back, right? They go into different ways of restricting or constricting your energy or the flow of money or your relationship to showing up bigger and wilder than ever. And the 60K in 10 days was the epitome of every reason why I could have, and no one would have made me wrong for it, very easily stepped back, leaned out, and pulled away from what I was being called into because of the circumstances I was going through. If you've listened to previous lives or previous episodes, then you already know, or if you were inside of Wealth Codes or already inside of our Wild Overflow pre-party where I shared more about this, that I was going in and out of the ER, well, in and out of urgent care, and then ended up in the ER during this time period. I was in the most excruciating physical pain I've ever been in the most sensitive part of my body. I was quite literally on the bed, crying and screaming in agony, while, thank God, the people at the hospital were just so caring and so attentive. They were holding my hands and like being so supportive with me, while I was feeling this terror, this fear of, and the anticipation of going through something that was really, really scary for me, right? This procedure that needed to be taken care of urgently. And before this and after this, I am selling my heart out because I am showing the fuck up for my people, for my community, for the people that I am called to serve, the people that I know are going to massively expand their wealth and their money and their leadership in stepping into a more intimate proximity, close space with me. And this is the big difference between most money coaching, most wealth coaching, and the way that I teach it is, and the way that I embody it, is that it was regenerative. I was being given life. It was life-giving for me to be serving, for me to be showing up. It was actually healing me. It was healing my body. It was healing my spirit. It was healing my soul to be in that depth of service, to be giving and coaching from true overflow. It felt so fulfilling for me to know that these women were stepping into the most radical, revolutionary richness that they couldn't even imagine, but I felt it in my soul. I felt it in my heart. And so to be in this relationship with sales and service and money is so powerful that during this time where my body is going through all of those things that most people would get contracted around, like, oh my gosh, my body is going through this thing, I'm freaking out, or I'm XYZ, however people, respond to these very real life circumstances. And the nervous system would contract. I stayed open. I continued to stay open, continues to stay open to receive, to serve, to give, to be so generous from that place of embodied power. And in that's what allowed for that relationship with money to be expanding at quantum growth speed, right? So we talk about quantum growth in my world because these are the kinds of things that happen where it's like time and space expands in and of itself, right? And there's no way I could have predicted this. There's no way I could have planned it. One, that I'd be in the most excruciating pain I'd ever experienced. Two, that it would also be the same time that I have my highest sales and cash come in that short of a period, right? And so this is where that depth of embodied safety and security and pleasure and turn on in your work makes it so that money feels regenerative, so wealth feels regenerative, so your business feels regenerative, that even against all odds and against all circumstances, you rise beyond the edge of expansion. So in that openness in the body and the openness of my nervous system to receive and to give and to be a steward of wealth energetically and tangibly in my real life circumstances, right? That's what allowed for the 60K in 10 days. And I see this kind of thing happening with my clients, especially the ones that have been stepping into the Wild Overflow pre-party. It's been blowing my mind through the edginess, the discomfort, and oh my gosh, the resistance and all of the things. And I watched every single one of them. right before they decide that they're going to step in. We're on the edge of expansion, and then they rise beyond the edge of expansion, literally instantly receiving cash. One of my clients immediately had a 4K new client come in. Another one had 2 new clients come in. Another one had one of her clients renew. Another one doubled the amount of people that show up to her in-person event. All of those happened within a very, very short window of time after rising beyond the edge of expansion. They opened their nervous system, their somatic capacity to be able to receive in wild overflow by rising beyond the fears and by choosing to show up bigger and wilder and more powerful and liberated in their body and in their leadership. And then the external world reflects that and matches that. And then money magnetizes to that. And so these are the kinds of things where, 4-figure, 5-figure cash or sales days become so much more normalized for your nervous system because you're so practiced at rising beyond your circumstances. A year ago, 2 years ago, if I would have been in that situation where I'm leading a live portal, it was a 3-day wealth code portal, I'm going through all of this physical pain, and I'm driving to the emergency room, trying to find a place that's going to be able to take care of me while I'm in a big launch, and I'm poured so much love and care and intention into this experience that I've created, right? I would have collapsed. I would have shut down, or I would have gone into some kind of avoidant or anxious relationship, right? If all of that was happening, let's say like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, right? But because I've built my nervous system capacity, and this is what happens when you step into the wild overflow method, what happens is you build your capacity to be able to rise beyond any circumstance that comes. Obviously, there's some circumstances that are like really, really, really intense, but this is one of those that was really, really, really intense. And I'm so excited to be giving you so much juice on this inside of our first free wealth portal in over a year inside of Edge of Expansion. I'm so happy to have you in here. And I am welcoming all of our incredible new members because we are having our expansive April inside of Here We Grow. And what we're doing, which was a super fun, spontaneous idea, is having a celebration party. So we do celebration parties, surprise celebration parties in here whenever I feel called and whenever I feel that like, ooh, this would be a really fun thing to do. And we have some really juicy giveaways that happen during our celebration parties. So definitely this is a party that you want to show up for, and you want to show up big for. The thing around celebration, and inside of my close proximity spaces, inside of Wild Overflow Wealth Mind, and inside of one-on-one, and inside of all of my different programs, you get to feel the difference in your nervous system calibrating to being seen and celebrated and witnessed and honored and accepted through every big or small win, right? So there's no celebration that's too small. There's no celebration that's too big. What we're doing is we're normalizing and making you more of a magnetic force for even greater celebrations. I will tell you, it was from me celebrating my first $400 client that has led to me celebrating my first 60K in 10 days, which has also led to me celebrating my clients in 100K months, right? And so you get to celebrate all of the things, and we want you to celebrate yourself during the celebration party as much as you can, and you will get to be entered into a celebration party raffle at the end of Expansive April, where we're going to pull the celebration queen out of the raffle, and you'll get to win a giveaway. So you raise your chances the more that you celebrate, and we just want to love up on you in here. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Here We Grow. Welcome to Expansive April, and I look forward to getting to love you and watch you rise inside of Edge of Expansion.